Why does your cat bite you? Not playfully, not by accident, but in that one moment, fast, sharp, and deliberate. Most owners assume it's random. Or worse, that their cat's just mean. But that bite is never just a bite. It's a message. And if you miss what it really means, you could damage your bond without realizing it. Let's decode what your cat isn't saying. 1. Is my cat warning me? Is your cat trying to warn you before they bite? Because sometimes that sudden nip is the end of a conversation you didn't even know was happening. Cats rarely go straight to aggression. That bite, even if it feels unpredictable, is usually the final step in a chain of ignored signals. Maybe you missed the tail flick, or the shift in ear position, or the freeze right before impact. They were all warnings. And here's the part most people miss. Biting isn't just a reaction. It's communication. Your cat is saying stop, back off, or even, you're crossing a boundary I've set for you. They're not lashing out randomly. They're doing the only thing left when you don't hear their whispers. The worst part? When you react with confusion or punishment, your cat doesn't just get defensive, they stop trusting you. And that trust, once cracked, takes time to rebuild. If you've ever thought your cat bit you out of nowhere, this is your wake-up call. They weren't attacking, they were speaking. And now, we need to teach you how to listen. 2. Are you rewarding the bite without realizing it? Could you be training your cat to bite you without even knowing it? Because every time your cat bites and you flinch, pull away, or give them space, you're sending a message. And it's not the one you think. You're reinforcing the idea that biting works, that it gets results, that if they don't like something, all they need to do is sink their teeth in and you'll back off. This creates a behavior loop. Your cat bites, you retreat, and they feel successful. It's operant conditioning and it works fast, especially with intelligent animals like cats. Even vocal reactions like yelling or sharply saying no can serve as a payoff, because attention, even negative attention, can still be rewarding in an overstimulated or frustrated moment. Now here's where it gets deeper. Some cats bite not just to stop a behavior, but to control an outcome. For example, if biting ends playtime, or makes you stop grooming them, or even gets a snack later out of guilt, they learn. They watch your patterns. They adjust. And suddenly the bite becomes a trained response to situations they want to change. But you can interrupt this. Neutral reactions, redirection, and setting boundaries consistently. That's how you break the cycle. We'll get to how later in the video. But first, you need to stop making this mistake. Because if you're not aware of what your reactions are teaching, biting won't go away. It will get worse. And hey, before we move to the next one, tap like and subscribe if you've ever been bitten by your cat and thought, what did I do wrong? This video is here to help more cat lovers finally understand what's really going on. 3. The love bite that isn't always love. What if your cat's gentle bite isn't affection at all? You're petting them, maybe they're purring, everything seems fine. Then suddenly they turn and bite, not hard, but sharp enough to make you freeze. Most people laugh it off and call it a love bite, but there's a fine line between affection and agitation, and chances are your cat just crossed it. Here's what's really going on. Cats are complex. Some use soft biting as a form of bonding, especially if they were socialized that way early on. But more often, that bite is a polite way of saying, I'm done now. It feels like affection because it's not aggressive, but that doesn't mean it's welcome. Think of it like this. You're having a conversation with someone and they keep talking over you. You don't want to yell, so you interrupt with just enough edge in your voice to make them pause. That's what your cat is doing. They're not hurting you, but they're stopping you. The mistake? Ignoring it. If you keep petting after the love bite, you're ignoring a clear boundary. Do that enough times, and next time it may not be so gentle. The solution? Watch their body language, honor their limits, and always end the interaction before they feel the need to make it end for you. 4. Overstimulation. Why your cat bites after petting. Why does your cat seem to enjoy petting one moment and then bite you the next? It feels like a betrayal. 1 second they're melting into your hands, the next they're turning on you. But this isn't about mood swings. It's about a biological limit that most owners never learn to spot. Cats have a threshold for physical contact. It's not just about how long you pet them, but where and how. Too much touch in certain areas like the base of the tail, the belly, or even over the spine can trigger a spike in sensory overload. It's like scratching an itch that suddenly becomes pain. Your cat isn't turning mean. They're trying to end a sensation that's gone from comforting to irritating. The warning signs are always there. A twitching tail, ears shifting sideways, skin rippling under your hand. And if you miss those signals, what do you think is going to happen? You guessed it right, they'll bite you. 5. The warning signs you're ignoring right before the bite. What if your cat has been broadcasting their limits and you just haven't learned the language? Because cats don't scream, growl, or swat when they first feel overwhelmed. They whisper with their body, with their posture, with tension so subtle, you won't notice unless you know exactly what to look for. The tail starts to flick, not in big sweeps, but in tight, irritated pulses. The ears begin to rotate, shifting back or sideways. The pupils change shape, their eyes freeze, the muscles around their shoulders go stiff. This isn't random. It's not moodiness, it's restraint. Your cat is holding themselves together, waiting to see if you'll notice that they've had enough. Not understanding this body language is like ignoring the ticking of a timer. And when that timer hits 0, the bite is not a surprise. It's an explosion you could have diffused. But what happens when these signs are missing completely? When there's no buildup, no tension, no flick of the tail, just the bite? That's when we step into dangerous territory, because sometimes the bite isn't about communication at all. It's a reaction to pain, stress, or something happening deep inside your cat that they can't show you any other way. And in number 10, we'll talk about those moments, the ones where biting becomes a medical red flag. You need to see that part, especially if none of this is adding up yet. 6. Stress bites when it's not about you at all. What if your cat's bite had nothing to do with what you were doing and everything to do with what they were feeling? Sometimes the bite is just the final crack in a pressure system that's been building all day. You're not the cause, you're the outlet. Cats are deeply affected by changes in their environment, even the ones you barely notice. A new smell on your clothes, construction sounds outside, a visit from another animal. All of it stacks tension in their nervous system. And when they're unable to release that stress, it needs a direction. That's where you come in. You reach out to pet them, to feed them, to show affection. But in their overloaded state, your touch isn't comfort, it's a spark. This is called redirected aggression. Your cat isn't angry at you. They're reacting to something else, and you just happen to be the nearest moving target. This is especially common in multi-cat homes or after moments of high arousal, like seeing another animal outside the window. They can't reach the threat, but they can reach you. To stop this, you need to reduce ambient stressors before the bite happens. Control the environment. Create calm spaces, use scent cues, hiding spots, and playtime to let them decompress. 7. What to do after the bite to avoid breaking trust. What's the worst thing you can do right after your cat bites you? React emotionally, raise your voice, grab them, chase them out of the room. It's human nature. The sting surprises you and you snap. But to your cat, that moment can do lasting damage because they weren't trying to hurt you. They were trying to say something, and now you've confirmed their fear. That you're unpredictable, that you're dangerous, that next time they need to act even faster to protect themselves. This is where trust breaks, not during the bite, but in what happens after. So here's what to do instead. First, pause. Do nothing for a few seconds. Create space without punishment. Let both of you come down from the moment. Next, assess the bite honestly. Was it a warning or a full-out attack? Was there tension in the body, or did it feel like play gone too far? Your job is not to retaliate. Your job is to observe and learn. Then later, when things are calm, redirect that energy. Use interactive play to satisfy their need for stimulation. Reinforce boundaries with consistency. And above all, stay emotionally neutral in the moment. 8. How your scent or energy can set them off. Can your cat sense your energy before you even touch them? More than you realize. Cats are wired to pick up on the subtlest changes in scent, body language, tension, even your breathing. And if something feels off, they don't ask questions, they react. Let's start with scent. If you've been around another animal, used a new lotion, detergent, or even eaten something strong like garlic, your scent signature changes. To a cat, that can register as unfamiliar or even threatening. That alone can create a surge of alertness that makes a bite more likely, not out of anger, but out of defense. Now add emotional energy to the mix. If you come home anxious, frustrated, or distracted, your body tells the story. You move differently. You breathe differently. Your cat feels that shift and may interpret it as pressure or unpredictability. Touch offered in that state doesn't feel safe. It feels forced. Some cats are especially sensitive to this. They bond deeply, but they also guard their space fiercely. And when your presence feels heavy, they treat it like a storm rolling in. Their response? Withdrawal, avoidance, or a bite that says not now. To avoid this, check your own state before you reach for them. Are you calm? Are you grounded? Approach with intention, not impulse. Because to your cat, you're not just a person, you're a moving energy field, and they decide if it's safe to let you in. 9. Why your cat might be testing boundaries. What if your cat is biting you to see how much they can get away with? It sounds manipulative, but for some cats, biting isn't just about fear or stress. It's about control. And if you're not setting boundaries, they might start setting them for you. Cats are constantly shaping their environment. That includes you. Every reaction you give, whether you back off, baby talk them, or even reward them with food afterward, becomes data. They're not being malicious, they're being strategic, and if biting gets them what they want, they'll keep using it. This often shows up in dominant cats or ones who were never taught proper bite inhibition as kittens. They might bite to say, "Stop petting me, don't pick me up," or even "Move out of my space." And if you obey every time, they learn that biting works. But here's the problem. When a cat learns that biting controls you, they lose respect for your leadership. They stop looking to you for stability, and the relationship becomes a power struggle. The solution is not to punish, it's to lead. Use calm consistency, set limits, make sure affection happens on mutual terms, not just theirs. Redirect the energy when they act out, but don't give in to the behavior. Because your cat isn't just watching how you react, they're deciding who's in charge. 10. When the bite isn't normal, medical or behavioral red flags. What if the bite isn't about behavior at all, but about pain? Not frustration, not play, not boundaries, actual physical pain. This is the moment most owners miss, and it's the most dangerous one to ignore. If your cat suddenly starts biting out of character, if the intensity changes, if the bite comes without warning or is paired with vocalizations, hiding, or sudden aggression toward everyone, you need to stop and ask a different question. Not "what did I do wrong?" but "is something wrong with them?" Biting can be a symptom of dental pain, arthritis, digestive discomfort, neurological stress. Even conditions like hyperthyroidism or infections can affect your cat's tolerance and behavior. And in older cats, behavioral changes linked to biting can be a signal of cognitive decline. They're not just being moody, they're confused, overstimulated, and often scared. This is why it's critical to look at the whole picture. A cat who bites out of nowhere and never used to may not need a trainer. They may need a vet. Don't assume every bite is a behavioral issue. If something feels off, it probably is. You know your cat better than anyone. And the sooner you catch a hidden issue, the sooner you can bring them back to balance without pain, without fear, and without needing to use their teeth to cry for help.